You ever notice how entry-level jobs now sound like rich people satire? Beginner role, need 4 years experience, master's degree preferred, industry certifications, proven results, existing client network, salary, competitive, which usually means free coffee, vague promises, and the privilege of being exhausted. There are internships asking for previous internships, junior analyst roles asking for closed deals, graduate jobs requiring software nobody teaches and experience nobody will give you. These are jobs for beginners, designed for people who already escaped being beginners. The entry-level job used to be the tutorial level. Now it's a hidden boss fight that requires legendary gear, 3 referrals, and emotional immunity to rejection emails sent at 2:13 a.m. And before another executive says, young people just don't want to work, maybe ask a better question. You deleted the first rung of the ladder because it wasn't lazy graduates, it was cost-cutting, automation, private equity logic, and a hiring system that thinks entry-level means mid-career professional willing to role-play as cheap labor, and how the bottom of the career ladder became sell your soul to win. For years, the formula sounded simple. Go to school, get decent grades, pick something safe, graduate, get an entry-level job, work hard, move up. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't exciting, but it at least sounded like a functioning civilization. You started at the bottom, learned useful skills, became competent, earned more money, got more responsibility, and eventually became the person asking interns to circle back. That was the deal. Not luxury, not yachts, just progress. Now compare that to what many graduates walk into today. They finish university, open LinkedIn, search entry level, and immediately get hit with listings that read like they're hiring the next Batman. 2 to 5 years experience, advanced software knowledge, leadership preferred, must thrive in ambiguity, must be passionate, salary mysteriously absent. You are not entering a career anymore. You are auditioning for one. And this shift is real. Across finance, tech, consulting, media, and retail, major firms spent the last few years cutting costs, freezing graduate hiring, reducing intake, or quietly deciding training was somebody else's problem. Goldman Sachs tightened analyst hiring in slower cycles. Big 4 firms trimmed graduate targets. Tech companies laid off thousands, then asked the survivors to do more with less, which is corporate for good luck. Klarna proudly announced AI was handling work once done by hundreds of support staff. Different industries, same message. The beginner slot is no longer sacred. So the promise still exists in speeches, university brochures, and motivational LinkedIn posts written by men named Chad, but the machinery behind it changed. People were sold a staircase, then arrived to find a climbing wall, 3 unpaid internships, and an aptitude test asking what kind of vegetable best describes your leadership style. So what changed? Did an entire generation suddenly become lazy, entitled, and mysteriously allergic to effort? Probably not. What changed was the economics of hiring. For years, junior workers were treated like investments. You hired someone inexperienced, trained them, accepted they would be slower at first, and later benefited when they became productive. Normal concept. Apparently now considered extremist ideology. Data entry, scheduling, basic research, customer support, first draft reports, updating spreadsheets nobody understood. Now software handles more of it. AI can summarize documents, answer common questions, write drafts, sort workflows, and remove chunks of low-level work juniors once learned through. Klarna became one of the clearest public examples when it said AI tools were doing work equivalent to hundreds of support roles. Investors heard efficiency. Graduates heard, we regret to inform you. Lean teams became a religion. After layoffs across finance, tech, retail, and media, many companies discovered they could run understaffed and call it innovation. One experienced employee now does 3 jobs, 2 dashboards, and stress-induced eye twitching. Management calls this efficiency. Doctors call it symptoms. Outsourcing beats training. Why train a beginner for 6 months when you can hire contractors, freelancers, agencies, or offshore teams immediately? From a quarterly earnings perspective, it looks brilliant. From a career ladder perspective, someone stole the bottom half. Nobody wants to train. Training takes time. Managers are overloaded. Teams are stretched. Targets are immediate. So instead of building talent, companies try to buy fully formed talent from somewhere else. It's like every football club wanting world-class players while nobody funds the academy. Then executives act shocked there's a skills shortage. There often isn't a shortage of talent. There's a shortage of patience. The experience trap. This is where the system becomes performance art. To get hired, you need experience. To get experience, you need to get hired. And somehow this loop is treated like a serious labor model instead of a prank by a supervillain. Search almost any entry-level role and you'll find requirements like, that is not entry-level, that is a mid-level employee wearing a fake mustache. And it's everywhere. LinkedIn, Indeed, graduate portals, corporate career pages designed like escape rooms, thousands of roles labeled junior while asking for experienced juniors by definition cannot have. Then comes the workaround economy. Can't get hired, build a portfolio. No portfolio, do free work. Need experience, intern. Internship unpaid, character development. And here's the part nobody likes admitting. This system rewards whoever can afford to survive it longest. If you can live at home, take unpaid internships, spend months applying, accept contract work, and attend networking events where everyone says, let's connect like NPCs, you have options. If you need money immediately, the maze gets smaller fast. So we pretend it's merit-based, while quietly filtering people by savings, family support, free time, and connections. Talent is common, safety nets are not. Students were told their degree was the key. Many discovered it was more like a queue ticket, and calling these jobs entry-level is like calling Dark Souls a world wellness app. Technically possible, emotionally irresponsible. When entry-level jobs vanish, the damage spreads. Remove that stage, and everything delays. Moving out, saving, relationships, confidence. Entire adulthood starts buffering. Then comes a talent pipeline. Every senior employee was once clueless. If no one trains beginners, where will future skilled workers come from? You can't harvest crops nobody planted. Finally, the psychological cost. Locked out people stop trusting universities, employers, institutions. They start trusting TikTok gurus named Braden next to a rented Lamborghini. That's how societies get weird. Stable countries don't need everyone rich. They need people to believe progress is possible. When the ladder feels fake, people disengage. And disengaged populations get extremely creative. Now comes my favorite phase of every broken system, the rebrand. When hiring breaks, companies rebrand the problem. Nobody wants to work anymore. Really? Millions are applying like it's a second unpaid job. What they mean, nobody wants these conditions. Low pay, inflated requirements, 5 rounds, personality tests, one-way videos, take-home assignments, and reply times measured in geological errors. Then there's the skills gap. Sometimes real. Often it means we want someone highly skilled, immediately available, cheap, trained by somebody else, and grateful. That's not a shortage, that's build a candidate. Banks slow hiring, then warn of talent shortages. Tech freezes juniors, then complains seniors are expensive. Consulting wants future leaders with 5 years of prior leadership. Companies cut training, then wonder why no one arrives polished. It's like deleting the gym and asking why everyone is weak. Meanwhile, applicants here learn another skill, rewrite your CV, network harder, manifest better. At some point, it stops being individual failure. It starts being a system outsourcing all responsibility downward. So if the system is broken, what are you supposed to do? Don't confuse a broken market with a broken you. Rejection often comes from randomness, hiring freezes, ghost listings, bad timing, not your work. 1. Build proof, not just credentials. Degrees help, but portfolios matter more. Show, don't just say. 2. Referrals beat the void. Cold apps vanish. People still hire through people, friends, alumni, communities. 3. Smaller companies over big names. Less glamour, more responsibility. That experience is what big firms eventually want. 4. Stack signals that open doors. 1 extra qualification example. CFA level 1 can get you seen. Not a guarantee, but visibility help. 5. Protect your sanity. Improve what you can. Stay consistent, but don't let the market define your value. Sometimes the boss fight is just badly designed. So no, entry-level jobs are not extinct, but they've mutated. Beginner roles now demand people who already stopped being beginners. The old model, hire juniors, train them, complain, continue. The new model, nobody trains. Everyone hunts ready-made talent, then acts shocked when shortages appear. We outsourced patience, automated apprenticeships, turned opportunity into a scavenger hunt, then blamed applicants for not smiling enough. If nobody hires beginners, nobody becomes experienced. If nobody builds the first rung, the ladder ends at the floor. They deleted the tutorial level, then wondered why nobody knows how to play the game. And if that sounds stupid, it's because it is. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Like and subscribe.
To the rest of you, the non-believers, the underachievers, the tweet and deleters, you guys make me sick to my stomachs, fam. Honestly, if you guys want to look at my eyes, you guys want to do something? You guys, that's what I thought. No, that's what I thought. That's what I